And let's take a deep cleansing breath together, everyone. And welcome to this group for the 12-12, which prior to about 7 or 8 days ago, I did not know I was going to be doing. It was, some of you may have heard a conversation Lewis and I were having over one of these calls. And he said, oh, you're going to do something for 12-12. And my words to him was, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait and see what to do before I say yes. And the what to do arrived a couple of days after that in an invitation, because it's always an invitation, isn't it? Free will, an invitation to work with the Melchizedek consciousness for today, bring it in today. I have quite a bit of ground to cover before we get to work, as it were. It's all relevant. It's all relevant, but I would ask for your ears for the next 10 minutes or so, rather than trying to take notes or remember things. Just let it come in, let it fall in, as it were, and yeah. So today is the 12-12, and the opportunity which was given is something called temporal repatterning. And that is to say, to take instances and dynamics from the past and bring them to a more harmonious state. In plain English, that means stuff which bothers us a lot will bother us less. And we get a boon, if that's the right word, got a bit of a boon today and an opportunity to do that. As it got closer to today, I realized there was more going on than just that. That today bookends a period of time in between now and the winter solstice, because you see the Jupiter-Saturn alignment that I'm no doubt you're starting to see the emails going around, and you're seeing the memes go around, and you're seeing the links being shared about that. That sort of begins, doesn't go direct, but it begins in a couple of days. And so really from about Monday, you're going to be feeling that, and you're going to be in that, and you're going to be walking through that, all right? And so I began to realize that doing this work today is the bookend. It's one of the bookends of what we're going to be doing, or if you choose to join us, what we're going to be doing on the solstice. And so my work today, or what's been presented to me that I'm going to pass through, is almost like looking at the past and the masculine. What we're going to be doing on this solstice is more looking ahead and with and through the feminine. All right. And I want to just speak about this thing about fear of missing out. Like, do you have to do these things? Do you have to wake up early on Saturday and do this? Is something going to happen if you don't? No. Nothing's going to happen if you don't show up with me and Lewis on the 21st. It doesn't work like that. Even if me and Lewis didn't, it's not like there's going to be an instance in the Ascended Masters pub where they're like, oh, they didn't do it. The paradigm shift's call off now. It simply doesn't work like that. We gather together like this to help build a framework, and to build that framework with all of the other people that are feeling called to do so in their own ways. The paradigm shift will happen of its own volition isn't the word, it's not the right word, but I think you don't know what I'm saying. If I can give you an analogy, what our conscious action is like, it's like being the dad, and I know this, it's like being the dad during labor, okay? We are somewhat surplus to requirement. We can be in the room or out of the room. If we're in the room, we have the opportunity to work with the the spirits of transition. I like to call it the birth shaman, and we can support that way. But if we were out of the room, it would still happen, right? It would still happen. And so we gathered together like this to enjoy the experience, to be an active part of it. But I just want to speak to this thing about fear of missing out. You're not missing out. You're supported, loved, held, nurtured, seen either way, whether you choose to do things like this or not. Okay. I also want to, some of you have written to me since we put out the work on the 21st, with a bit of concern about, is this going to be one of these big things people talk about that, people talk about vanishing into the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension? Is there going to be huge upsets and alerts and all of that? And my response is no, no, and no. This is on the 21st, it's a very beautiful rebirthing, and a slow one at that, a slow one. And opening up to something wonderful that's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. This thing about disappearing into the fourth and fifth dimension, I know some people write about that. I've never agreed with that. In fact, I think actually the very opposite, the very, very opposite, that the fourth and fifth dimensions, by which I mean speed of thought into action, by which I mean a unified love experience. I see these things coming into the physical, a descension, if anything. And just look at daily life. You know, you can have a question, then get on your phone, unless you're Lewis, who doesn't have a smartphone. Sorry, I had to get that in somewhere. But get on your phone, ask a question, and know the answer immediately. Or an experience that I get to have, and I'm very, very, I enjoy modern life for this. Someone will recommend a book, and I can have that book immediately. It's no more waiting for 3 weeks for something to arrive in the mail. And so this sort of instantaneous manifestation, I'm saying, is starting to see it happening. I'm sure all of you in the last month, and I'm going wide there. I'm sure all of you in the last month have thought of someone, and then they've texted you, or they've called, or something like that. It's happening. It's happening. It's a gradual process, and it's a beautiful one. Excuse me here. Yes, so that's someone joining. And also you look at the sort of year we're having, right? A lot of interruptions, and yet we're still here. We're still getting through it. Now, maybe my threshold for apocalypse has gone up somewhat in the last year or so, but interruptions probably continue to happen in some way, shape or form, but the big apocalypse type stuff, I just don't think it's in the humans chart any longer. I don't think we need it. Still lessons to learn. Yes, come the 22nd of December, there will still be a lot of unhappy people in the world, a lot of imbalance, a lot of work to do, which will probably outlast all of our lifetimes. But know that we've done and we're doing a great amount of work, whether you're doing it actively or consciously or not. All right. So on to today. Melchizedek. I'm going to just pull up an image of what he probably didn't look like. Okay. So you may have seen this image. Oops, have I got the right one? Lewis, what are you looking at there?
I'm looking at the cover page for when we were entering the section. So this is not Melchizedek.
Not Melchizedek. Just try that one. What are you looking at?
There we go. I'm looking at the print by by Marius, the artist out in California.
So that is a depiction of Melchizedek there. Let me just take that off now. If you've heard, I'm going to just speak about this for a few minutes. People say a lot about Melchizedek. Talk about a person, you talk about priesthood, talk about a consciousness. People say he was Jesus. People say he's Archangel Michael. People say in our circle he was Red Feather, Metatron. And there's more. And I would say all of those are true. I'd say all those are true. The word true, how can I even back that up? But all of those resonate with me. All of those resonate with me. You'll find Melchizedek in the Bible, I think in Hebrews, Genesis, Psalms. He's in there. He's actively with Abraham. That kind of time. You'll hear Jesus described, or you'll read about Jesus described as a high priest in the order of Melchizedek. So the name's in there. And in the Bible, in the Talmud, I think even in the Quran, Melchizedek is mentioned. Now I'm Jewish, so I recognize the Hebrew, and it's actually two words. I would pronounce it Malchi and Zedek. Malchi and Zedek. That's right, Malchi and Zedek, which translates loosely to King of Righteousness. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, too. King of Righteousness. A bit of digging and reading around brings me to a being, and I'm using my words carefully there rather than a person, a being that showed up, yes, around Abraham's time, that was called Melchizedek. That's right. And the Melchizedeks are seen as emergency beings, right? So they'll show up with purpose to effect change. Now, this particular being, Melchizedek, was kind of human, okay? So very, very elevated, and also showed up with about 11 or 12 others, not like him, but to support him to be there, or to support the being to be there. His mission, or its mission, was could be simplified to say to establish monotheism, the one God rather than infinite numbers of gods, and to pave the way for a being, here we go, that was to come much, 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 much later on, known as the Christ Michael. Now, bear with me here. I did not know about the Christ Michael until a while ago, and that being incarnated as the person we know as Jesus. Also to affect huge change. What is the point of all of this? Why am I giving you a very abbreviated history lesson? Because there's not going to be a one person coming to save the day. I wish there was. I'd get t-shirts and everything, but I don't think there's one person coming. I do believe in a group, as Lewis has called it, Messiah, right? I do believe in that. A lot of people, vast amounts of people coming to elevate Earth, to elevate Gaia, to elevate us and all of it, to bring us to a new way and place of being. Oh, you know what I forgot to say? It's actually a symbol. And I've got a very crude version of it here. Okay. Nope. Let's try again. Okay. Let's try that. Same thing? Nope, same thing. Never mind. What I'm trying to show you is three interlocking circles, three concentric circles. Not interlocking, forgive me. Not interlocking. Concentric, okay? So a circle, and inside that a circle, and inside that a circle. I had a little bit of a look online to see what the signatures or emblems or whatever of the Melchizedek were, and stuff came up, but it doesn't feel lots of squares and stuff. Lots of squares. Doesn't quite feel right to me. But the interlocking, there I go again. Concentric circles. The concentric circles. Three concentric circles representing God, angels, and human. Also representing infinity, eternity, and, oh God, universality. Infinity, eternity, and universality. Sorry, it's early for me too. Those three things. And that's all I was trying to show you, three concentric circles. And I like that. I like that. It speaks to me of emergence rather than emergency. Getting on to today. I'm sure beings have showed up representing the Melchizedek consciousness. Really quite sure everyone that's on this call right now is as well. I know I've got something to do with it because I'm quite resistant to it. Quite resistant to it, like cosmic broccoli. You know, it must be good for me. So I'm resistant to it. So it's something that's in all of us, a part of all of us, and our deep mission to come here and affect change. I want to talk about the word right, because that's the word right is in a context. The word right is a judgment, isn't it? So if you're not right, you're wrong. In the context of righteousness, I get the sense more of harmonious relationships, harmonious proportions and relationships. Insofar as if you're cooking something, if you're baking something, if you taste it, it's either going to taste right or it's not going to taste right. If you're drawing something, which I often do, if you're drawing something, or particularly a person, it's either going to look right or it's not. And in that context, it's a statement of where one is placed in regard to the flow. So you've got the sentence, king of righteousness. Ideally, a king, a monarch, is the divine intermediary. That's why they're the king or the monarch. And so if one is right or righteous in that context, they're in the flow. They're in what is. And that's not a right or wrong thing. It's just an is. I wish I had changed a word of the title of this. I called it Working with the Melchizedek Consciousness. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had written Working with Our Melchizedek Consciousness. Because you call something the, and you place it outside of yourself. And it's not. It simply isn't. It simply isn't. It's ours. It's yours, each of yours. It's what we're getting in touch with today. And finally, to today then. So repatterning. That's one of the things that's being offered to us today. I sort of revisit what I just said about harmonic proportions and relationships. In our lives, we've had things like traumas, maybe mild addictions, depression, any or all of those things. And any and all of those things are patterns that have appeared in our field, in our body and so on, that are not of our natural origin, not of our right origin, you might say. You know that things are right in the body because you don't have complaints, right? So if you're having a complaint or fine, I'll just go with complaint for the time being. Then there's a pattern in the body that is not of the harmonic origin and proportions of the body and the body elemental. It's something else in there. And part of the activity of alchemy is to take that pattern and make it more harmonious. Shazam. And that's what we get some opportunity to do today. Not all of it, no. Not absolutely everything that bothers us, no. Not going to happen. But some of it, yes. Some of it, yes. I created some music, which pretty much from this point on is the only thing I am sure is going to happen in our time today. There's some other things that I don't know what are going to happen, and I'm getting near that point now. I brought through some music, and I want to just say now, in case I forget to say, if you guys have earbuds, if you have speakers or anything like that, I would appreciate if you'd use them. There are some frequencies in the music that I'd like you to be able to hear. I'm on a vaguely decent computer here, but still, I lose the low end, and so on. Maybe I've dropped it a few times. So if you have speakers, if you have earbuds, just for later on, I'd appreciate if you use that. All right. I'm speaking a lot today because probably come the winter solstice group, I'm probably not going to be doing a whole lot of talking for that one. Bruce, do you want to chip in with anything?
Sure. I'd just like to remind people, when you think about, for example, the Master Jesus, and you think about, as Unity would say, the great way shower, at this point, particularly as we move into this Aquarian frequency, it's about seeing a reflection of ourselves in those eyes, in that heart. Well, Melchizedek's the same way. What I was taught is there's this tremendous line of light and expression that starts with Adam, the first soul, goes through several incarnations, eventually connects to Metatron, the angel of the presence, connects to Melchizedek, connects to Jesus, connects to us. And as Joshua said, when you talk about this emergent collective presence that's coming, or as I was told, the group avatar, we're all part of that. And according to one source that my wife was connected to a little while ago, there's about just a little over 1 million people on the planet right now that are in this sort of alignment with these higher frequencies. And in my mind, I have this image of this easy bake, turkey with the timer about to pop, because there's a lot of stuff that's coming. So the energy of today, this temporal connection awareness, it's about the past to enable us to heal, to rebalance, reorient ourselves. It's also about the now, about understanding what our gifts, our blessings, our resources really are right now, whatever we've manifested. And it's also about the future. What do we want to bring into play? The image I got this morning is of like a film strip with all these cells, all these moments, and all those cells are all on top of each other today. Not that they're not always that way, but our awareness of being in the now, being able to affect the totality of our experience is a little more emphasized. And Melchizedek is really here to help us be a one with that inner light to wherever we're going to be, and then manifest the highest and best possible, which thankfully by definition is always better than our human egos can imagine. So just some thoughts to share.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Bruce. Okay. All right. So from this point, I want to take us into meditation. I don't know if at this point, if the, there I am contradicting myself, if our Melchizedek consciousness is going to be speaking through me. I'm going to just wait and see if that happens. So would you get yourself comfortable, please? I want to just open us up with prayer here. Sweet heavenly presence of love, of light, vitality, sweetness from source, we welcome you into this space where we all sit together. We call forth our presence around us and through us, within us, as us. We connect to the Earth Mother below us, to the core of the earth. We ground ourselves. We call to sacred presence above us. We prepare to receive. And I welcome, as always, our higher selves, our greater aspect, to lead, to direct, flow of consciousness into our lower body, to aid and support our community, our family, our sole purpose and mission. And call forth the very highest good of our time together this morning, in appreciation for the inclination to do so, but the technology to do so, and the very great support of Spirit to do so. I welcome with deep appreciation all that is Melchizedek consciousness. In love, service, and humility, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. Mm. 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 Let us breathe together. Mm. 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 Indeed. Shalom Aleichem. Mm. No need for meditation. Mm. For that which we call to you as us, yes. Mm. Is always there. You would not search for oxygen. You would merely breathe. And this is how close we are to one another. Indeed, yes. Indeed, yes. Breathe. No need for meditation, for you have all been prepared in the night before. Some restless dreams, yes? We indeed speak as consciousness. Many of you have reduced spirit to personalized form. It is not always the case. Consider the drop in the ocean. All of it knows itself. If it is to be singularized, it is for a reason. Mm? And so, as you take singular form, you become human. You incarnate. You set about your requests. And there is a promise that is made. The promise is that all support will be given to you, unto you, to fulfill, to exact, to complete your mission. It is made clear to you at that point. This is not an easy task. Yet it is promised through universal law that the support will be. And we invite you to consider this day as an element of this support. Breathe. The one that we speak through indeed is resistant to this. This is why we have come now. His resistance, that you may use it as an example for your own, as a resistance to his expanse, to his magnificence. And the same we would say for you all. In some moments, we will leave this body in this way. The music that we have given this one We ask you to receive it not just through your ears, but from all sides. And rather than listen, to allow it to flow into and through you. Those that have come before you, that have opened up space, the emergent ones, the ones that are written about. They came knowing that you would come. They came to make the way easier for you. Yet your conscious participation is open through acknowledging this, through accepting this. Free will does not allow us to interfere with your process if you would prefer to see it all as struggle. Yet it is not. For your minds to have some conception of what is happening today, let us merely say we are unwinding that which you know is struggle. We are unwinding your familiarity and your comfort with struggle. We are unwinding your requirement. The scope of the work today extends through and beyond your winter solstice. Nourish yourself well in this time. Shalom Alech, sisters and brothers. Okay. Okay. The gift of music for spiritual development and integration is a lot of different signatures can be carried through it together. Music weaves around itself. I think I've said enough. I invite you to close your eyes again and receive this. Let's just have some silence, some stillness for a minute or so. I'd like you to feel your feet on the floor, or if you were laying down, in any part of your body that's connecting with the floor, with the earth. Bring your energy into your body. And let's be taking full, deep breaths from the abdomen, from the stomach, please. As far and wide as your stomach can expand. And now let's gently be rubbing the temples, the cheeks, chest. Drink something if you have it. For whatever reason, I woke up very early this morning and I'm still calling it the, forgive me. But I asked them, Melchizedek Consciousness, what are you? What are you? And I didn't get an answer. I didn't get an answer. But I instead got a feeling, was given a feeling of such kindness, warmth. If you can imagine the energy of a smile accepted, it's all around you. I was like, I'm okay with this. So, Lewis asked me a few weeks ago, he said, for our group on the 21st, he said, would you create a collective soul song for humanity? And I'm like, do you want fries with that? You know? But actually what's come, I'm not going to play it now, I haven't actually finished it yet. What's come is lovely, absolutely, absolutely lovely. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Lewis, would you be willing to say a few words about what's Monday the 21st, isn't it? Bear with me.
Sure. So just as a follow-up to just well, first off, thank you, Joshua, for setting the stage for this and being a beautiful instrument that helps all of us connect to this just gorgeous, beautiful light. When the Melchizedek Consciousness, our Melchizedek Consciousness started speaking through you, the first thing I saw right in the middle of your head was this white crown with this equal arm cross. And as you continue to speak, the image of a potential shift appeared. So the cross became gold. The crown became gold, and the equal arm cross split out to a beautiful violet Maltese cross. You know, when I think about Melchizedek, I think about the lawgiver. You know, he who understands the inner workings of the cosmic principles and harmonies. And in a sense, what we're working on today is creating the manger into which the new expression of divinity is born. And that was, yeah. So thank you again for that. In terms of 1221, so as Joshua said earlier, this is not like a supernova. It's not like a typhoon. It's not like a magnetic pole shift. It's not that kind of thing. It's sort of like a new sun rising, just cresting the horizon and enfolding all of us in higher frequencies. But Joshua, I think, absolutely got it right. It's not so much that we're ascending in the sense that the higher energies are more accessible to us, more connectable, if you will, because we are ascending, but experientially it's as heaven comes a little closer to earth. So what I encourage everyone to do, no matter what you're going to do, whether you're going to join Joshua and I in 1221 or not, please imagine that from this period right now, today, 1212 to 1221, you're like in the prep for just some amazing audio-visual, spiritual, technophonic experience. You know, and whatever we can do to connect ourselves to the most beautiful, highest, purest, most loving, most compassionate, most gentle energy we can imagine, do that. You know, take a walk out in nature, play beautiful music, spend time with loving friends, you know, read your favorite book of poetry, whatever you can do, because we really are part of the collective. And whatever each of us does impacts the whole of humanity, all 8-point-something billion of us. Now, there's not to speak of the countless billions on the inner planes between lifetimes. This is a very busy place. So in terms of what we're going to be actually doing in 1221, we'll be talking a lot about the significance of that time and what follows it, this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. We'll be talking about my understanding of the Illuminator of Worlds. We'll be going through a pretty long meditation that really connects the Buddhic light, the Buddhic consciousness, to every single human being on this planet. Joshua will be sharing what is his homework that he's been working on in terms of this soul song. He sent me a little preview. It is quite magical, and I've just listened to a minute or two of it. It really is a unique time. You know, I'm starting to do my research for what I'm going to share in terms of the, you know, the mental information. One of the things I remember reading is that the last time this kind of alignment occurred was 800 plus years ago. I mean, this is not just a lifetime experience. This is a lifetime of lifetime experiences. This is really a connection point. Now, as Joshua said, if you're not here, and will the sun not still shine? Absolutely. Whether you're here or not, just be conscious of the magic of the moment. Connect to that light and recognize the promise moving forward is it will be easier to connect to our inner divinity. It'll be easier to be aware of and work with all the help we're given, which at the end of the day are just aspects of our higher selves. There's going to be more singing, if you will, a little closer to the planet than there has been. And I'm excited to be a part of that, and I look forward to seeing all of you at one level of reality or another. I think that covers it, brother.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lewis. All right. So, those of you that are, if you're feeling inclined to join us on the 21st, can I just ask that you do so in the next couple of days, please? And that's just because I haven't gotten to the point where I've automated these things. I just haven't. So there are a few handouts we want to send you in advance of then. And it would just be easier if things weren't happening like right on the day. All right. So if you do want to join us, then in the next 2-3 days, if you would get to that, please. I was asked about donations for this group today. Sure. Yes. Fine. I'm funny about donations because a lot of other things get sent along with that. So all I would ask is if you're going to, then only do it gladfully, okay? Don't do it out of obligation, please. Don't send obligation my way. Got plenty of that. If you're feeling to do it, if it makes you happy to do it, lovely. Please, I welcome it. I think I've got a link on my website or something like that. But as for now, I'd like to just close the energy with appreciation and also mention, forgive me, also mention, I've got several of my peers, as it were, on this call, and I deeply appreciate it. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. Appreciate all of you giving up time and wanting to connect, being part of this fabric. I deeply appreciate it. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. But for now, let's just take a breath. I want to thank each of you again. I want to thank all of the different guides that support and build these matrices around us so that we can have these experiences. To our Melchizedek consciousness and all that sponsors and reminds and directs and aligns us with that. We say thank you. To the presence of Mother, Father, God, Goddess, within and without. For now and always we say thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. And let me unmute everyone. You're all unmuted. Take me off spotlight. Oh, wow, there you all are. Wow. Well, thank you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Wonderful day. And thank you. How about that?
Thank you, Joshua.
Thank you, Joshua. And thank you, Louis.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Blessings.
Bye-bye.